Today we're going to learn our last transformation. We have been through every single one of them except this one. So let's very quickly go through all the transformations. A translation is a slide. A reflection is a flip. And a rotation is a turn. Very good. What do those three have in common? They all preserve congruence. Now we're learning our last one that does not preserve congruence. So this one is different from the others because it does not preserve congruence. What is a dilation? We talked about this on the first day. When you go to the eye doctor, what do they do to your eye? What are they doing to it? They're making the pupil bigger so they can see, right? A dilation makes a shape, write this down, makes a shape bigger or smaller. It does not stay congruent. However, this is a big word. It is proportional. It is proportional to the old shape. Meaning, if I start with a triangle, I'm still going to get a triangle. Like, so if they take the shape, it's going to look exactly the same. It's just going to be a bigger or smaller version. So it will be proportional. They are going to use a scale factor. Now, if any of you guys are interested in becoming an architect or a construction person one day, they use this all the time. What do I mean by architects? What do they do before they build something? They design it. Okay. Not only do they design it, they use architect paper. So like when they built this school, they didn't just like throw it together. They had to design it and they drew it on paper proportional, like an actual version of the school drawn on paper, just shrunk down super, super tiny so that they could use a piece of paper. But the dimensions were proportional. So they used a scale factor. The scale factor tells you how much bigger or smaller. So obviously, the architects have a much smaller drawing of the actual building. But it is drawn, what you're going to hear the words, it's drawn to scale. Meaning that if I was to blow it up, it would actually look like this classroom. Okay? Like the length and the width are proportional to the length and the width that they draw on the paper. Now, how do you find a scale factor? This is the easiest thing ever. Here's the rule. The rule says take your x and y and multiply by the scale factor. The scale factor is found by doing this rule right here. What does it say? New over old. So you're going to take a side length of the new shape and get the proportional, like the same side length of the old shape, and put the new number over the old number and make a ratio, a fraction. And that is it. It is super, super easy. Now, the biggest thing you need to know, to find scale factor, do new over old, but this is huge right here. These stars right here are huge. Okay? Let's go through this one first, but these are the ones you really have to memorize. It says if you're given a scale factor, it's always a multiplier. Do y'all know how to make a number smaller and multiply to get it? If I want to make 100 smaller by multiplying, does anybody know how I can do it? It has to be a multiplier. What did it say? It has to be a... So how can I make 100 smaller by multiplying? I'm going to show y'all. If I multiply 100 by 5, is it going to get bigger or smaller? It's going to get bigger. Did it get bigger? All right, so how would I make it smaller? What if I multiply 100 by a fraction that's less than 1? Like, what about 1/2? Did it get smaller? So you can make a number smaller by multiplying by a number less than 1. So that's this thing right here. Everybody look, you've got to memorize this. If the scale factor is greater than 1, it's going to make it, what does an enlargement mean? Make it bigger. If the scale factor is less than 1, it's going to make a, what's a reduction mean? Smaller. So that's how you know. You should be able to look at the rule, this rule, and once you see the scale factor, if it's greater than 1, it's an enlargement. If it's less than 1, it's a reduction. I need everybody sitting up and paying attention. So here's our first two examples. Are y'all ready? If a shape is dilated by a scale factor of a fifth, would it make a reduction or enlargement? What did I say? If this number is greater than 1, it's an enlargement. If it's less than 1, is 1/5 greater than 1 or less than 1? What if you don't know? What do? Calculator, 1/5. Let's go see what a fifth is. 1/5. Math, decimal, enter. Is that greater than 1 or less than 1? So because 1/5 is 0.2, it is less than 1. Write that down. I don't see everybody writing. Because it's less than 1, this is a reduction, meaning it made it smaller. Look at the next example. If a shape is dilated by a scale factor of 3/2, would the new shape be a reduction, enlargement? What do I need to see? Is this number greater than 1 or less than 1? So go put it in your calculator. 3/2, math, decimal, enter. Is that greater than 1 or less than 1? So write that down. 3/2 is 1.5, which is greater than 1. Every single person should be writing this down. Since it's greater than 1, the answer is enlargement. All right, you're going to have questions like that today. You're going to have to tell if it's a reduction or an enlargement. All you have to do is ask yourself, is it greater than 1 or less than 1? All right, now we're going to do two examples of how do I write a rule. Now look at the rule. What does it say? Take your scale factor and just multiply by it, right? All right, so let's look at example 3. Figure S was dilated to create figure T. We have to figure out which one's new and which one's old. Read it again. Read it to yourself. Which figure's new and which figure's old? S was dilated to create T. Which one's new? T. So write that right here. T is new, S is old. If you don't know that, you can't find the scale factor. So again, to find the scale factor, write this down. You're going to do new over old. You can either use a side length or you can use a coordinate. It is totally up to you. You will get the same answer either way. Okay? On a circle, you can't use a side length, can you? Because there is no sides. But could you use a side length here? Yes, so let's look at it. Which one's new? T. So count the side length right here. How many side lengths is that? Anybody? 4. So the new number is 4 over the old number. Now, if I want to use this side length, I also have to use the same side on this one. Like I can't go change it and use a different side. I have to use corresponding sides. What's the side length here? And then all you're going to do is simplify that. So put it in your calculator and okay, so I'm going to go to alpha y equals, put in 4 over 2. And what does 4 over 2 simplify to? Then 2 is your scale factor. So to write your rule, all you simply do is make it look like this, and it'll be 2x, 2y. So I say take my x and my y, and simply multiply by 2. Write the rule down, please. Was this a reduction or an enlargement? What is the scale factor? Is it greater than 1 or less than 1? So was this a reduction or an enlargement? This was an enlargement. They took a smaller shape and made it bigger. All right, let's go do the next one. We got to figure out which one's new and which one's old, or we won't get it right. All right, so circle 2 was dilated to create circle 1. Which one's new? Circle 1. So go labeled. This is new. This is old. I need to do new over old. I cannot use a side length because a circle doesn't have a side length. So I need to use a coordinate. I can use this one, but if I use this one, what do I have to use on this one? The same spot. Y'all see what I'm saying? I could have also used this one and this one. It does not matter, but I picked these two. Circle 1 is the new circle. What is its number at right here? 3. So 3 goes on top. Circle 2 is old. What number is that? 8. And simplify the fraction if you can. That actually doesn't simplify, but go ahead and put it in so you can see 3/8. Hit enter. 3/8 stays. The same. So 3/8. So my rule says, this is my scale factor right here. The rule says, take my x and my y and simply multiply by 3/8. So 3/8 x, 3/8 y. Is this a reduction or an enlargement? Is 3/8 bigger than 1 or smaller than 1? If you don't know, put it in your calculator. 3/8. Guys, if the top number is smaller than the bottom number, it's smaller than 1. If the top number is bigger than the bottom number, it's bigger than 1. But look, 3/8. Math, decimal, enter. Is that bigger than 1 or smaller than 1? So because 3/8 is smaller than 1, this is a reduction. All right, let's go over what we learned. A dilation makes a shape bigger or smaller. If the scale factor is greater than 1, it's an enlargement. If the scale factor is less than 1, it's a. If it asks you to write a rule, you've got to find two numbers, put the new number on top, the old number on bottom, simplify the fraction. Don't put it in decimal form. Simplify the fraction and simply drop it into that. That's it. Are y'all good? All right, your assignment will be found on the Google Classroom. You'll put A, B, C, or D down, and I will check your work for you.